and welcome back to American Aupair Host Mom. I'm Lisa, and I'm here to talk today about how you identify an au pair who has independence. This is actually one of the most highly sought after traits that many host families look for. So to start off, what is independence? Independence is often defined as someone who does not rely on others, who's self-governing, self-autonomous, and is not controlled by others. So this leads us to kind of a tricky question. Why do we want someone like that? I think some things are obvious. It takes a lot of time to onboard an au pair, and someone who's independent is probably not going to get homesick as much. They're going to make good decisions. They're going to be able to think on their feet. And with children, we know that has to happen a lot. So independence is actually a really good thing. However, you also want to look for that right balance of independence, but not so much of a rebel that they're not willing to work with you and understand your ways and your parenting. So how do you do that? I have following here 20 questions that I think help suss out the balance between this independence and collaboration. So to start off, no matter what candidate and what trait I'm looking for, there are two main questions I always ask. The first one is, in 3 words, how do you describe yourself? So listen carefully to the 3 words that they're using to describe themselves. If independence is one of them, cool, you have a free pass, and this is a really good sign that they're independent. Of course, don't stop here. And if they don't say that, it doesn't mean they're the wrong candidate. You should ask several more of the following questions. Another key question I always ask my au pairs is, how would your family or your friends, those closest to you in your life, describe you in 3 words again? So again, sometimes we're humble and we don't want to focus on one particular trait that truly is us, but those who know us best know it and they say it, and you'll hear this when they say how their friends describe them. So again, it may come up here, but don't stop. Keep asking more questions. So I already mentioned there's that fine balance in independence. We want someone who is going to be able to think on their feet, who's not going to get homesick, who can make decisions and has a really good thinking process. But we also want to know that they're going to be collaborative, that they're going to be able to take guidance from us, the parents, and work with us on that. So this is a really great question, and to listen carefully to the answer they give. Ask them if they like working independently or in a team. And you can remind them, again, they are young adults without a lot of experience, but when they're answering this, they can answer this in respect to how they completed schoolwork, how they worked on a sports team, or hopefully they've already held down some kind of part-time job, which is a really great sign of independence too. So they can use any of this life experience to answer this question. And when they do answer this question, what we're looking for is that nice balance, that they enjoy a little of both, right? That they're okay taking the lead and going off on their own and getting work done, but that they can work with a team and figure out collaboratively how to get it done also. Next, you want to ask them to tell you about a time they made a decision, what that decision was, and take them through their thinking process on how they made that decision. Really, what decision they made is probably not important. They could decide, what pet they wanted, what career they wanted, or obviously they had to make a decision on applying to become an au pair and why. What is important in this process is how they came up with that decision. Hopefully, like for instance, if they're asking, why do they want to become an au pair? Oh, because my best friend did it and I just do everything she does. Hopefully they're not going to say something like that, but it will be key for you to hear their thinking process and how they make decisions. Next, you want to ask them to go ahead and tell you about time that you have disagreed with family or disagreed with friends. Again, this shows independent thinking, that they're just not looking at what others do and doing it. They're taking in all kinds of data and processing that themselves and making a really good decision. And then maybe ask, how did they deal with the fact that they disagreed with those they loved? So this will get back to that collaborative part and how they're going to deal with it. Because what if they disagree with you? We want to know how they're going to deal with that. Are they going to speak up? And are they going to problem solve in a productive manner? Another one, so independent people are usually self-motivated and ambitious. And if you see this, one of the things to kind of tell this is, tell me about some of the goals you've set throughout your life and how you went about achieving them. So again, goals. like becoming an au pair or any other goal that they've ever had. Again, it's just showing you that they're self-motivated, that they've thought about the future, that they're looking to achieve things, and then you can understand their thought process on how they go about achieving those things and if that's healthy. Go ahead and ask them what they're most proud of and why. So again, gets to that self-motivation. Something that they care about is probably generally going to be a theme in their life of how they're motivated and how they're independent. Ask them then to tell you about a time they failed and how they dealt with that. So we're all human, we all make mistakes, but independent people are able to make those mistakes, realize it, learn from it, and move on. Next, ask them to tell you about a time when things were not clear. Other words, maybe it was not clear how roles were set out in a certain job or project, or it wasn't clear exactly what they were supposed to do. Tell them to go ahead and describe that situation and then how did they deal with it. Of course, again, what we're looking for is really good independence in problem solving here, that they use sound logical thinking, they pull in good information, and ultimately make great decisions. And they're not constantly relying on that same role model to solve things for them. Another one, did you ever have a really good idea and then everyone shot it down? This obviously is a difficult situation, can be really defeating for a lot of people, and some people just give up. But independent people, if they're passionate about what it is their idea is, they will work collaboratively with others. They will share ideas. They will try to share purpose behind it and maybe compromise. So just listen to how they dealt with that and was it healthy and collaborative and moving forward. Ask them to tell you about a time they worked on something that they either found boring or that they were bored or some job that they didn't like, and how did they handle that? Again, independent people take control and accountability themselves. So they're not telling a story about, oh, well, yeah, this job was super boring and I told my boss that and he didn't make it any better. That's hopefully not an answer you want. Instead, hey, I really quickly got over the parts that were boring and then I asked for more responsibility, or, I found some other cool things that I could do to make it more exciting, or I put some greater purpose for why I was doing this. Like, it was a boring job, but it was a way that I could then apply to be an au pair. So I made sure I got it done and I got it done right. Anything that shows that they're taking ownership and accountability is a great sign of independence. How about telling you about a time that something unexpected happened and how they dealt with that? Again, any surprise in their family, from their friends, something that they didn't think was going to happen. Was it made them happy, sad, mad? How did they feel, react? Then how did they pause and think? And then how did they deal with that? Again, showing independence, not blame, showing that they were going to take control for what they could and then accept what they couldn't and move forward. How about telling you about a time they had to deal with change? So this is pretty similar, but again, we're using different words, giving them another chance to think about things. Life often changes, and independent people know that, and they deal with it healthily, right? They think through what their options are, they accept what they can't change, and then they do move forward plans to what they can change. Have them tell you about a project, tell you about a time they had to make a decision without enough information. Again, someone who's independent may know 80% of the what's supposed to be done, but not 20%. Maybe that 20% really isn't that important in regards to, I know lunch has to happen at noon, but I'm not exactly sure if I should serve the chicken nuggets or the mac and cheese. That's kind of simple, but it just really puts out there that we want to get through that thinking process, right? Have them tell you about a situation where they had to persuade team members or family to move forward with the decision instead of waiting for more information. This is pretty similar to the last one. Again, we're looking for someone who's not going to be paralyzed in every situation, someone who is a problem solver, who's independent enough to pull information and pull their thinking process together to make a decision and move forward. They're decisive. And lastly, how would they handle it if you were unsatisfied with any aspect of your job? If they didn't like something, how did they then deal with that? We're looking for someone who's not going to blame others, who's going to take control and accountability again here. So these are all some really great ideas on some questions you can ask. Again, I know you're dealing with a young person who is not going to have a life experience. They might not be able to answer every single one of these, but hopefully a few of these they'll be able to answer to give you some clue into their independence. And perhaps, since again, this may be their second language they're answering, make sure you do multiple short interviews. Give them time to think, or maybe you want to even give them some of these questions ahead of time so they have time to translate and think. Those are all ways to get around those barriers. But no matter what, you want to ask lots of questions to get at their independence and ensure they are self-motivated, self-starters, decisive, good thinking people that handle collaboratively and independently. And hopefully this was helpful. I've got lots of other great interview tips in this playlist over here and other great host family information. If this is helpful, I hope you can go ahead and give this video a like, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.